The Nintendo 64 is home to many iconic Nintendo games, and did you know that despite it being a 64-bit system, hence the name Nintendo 64, many of the games on it just ran at 32-bit. This includes arguably the most popular N64 game of all time, Super Mario 64. There are a lot of weird or obscure facts when it comes to various Nintendo games and franchises, and seeing as we looked a lot at Pokemon facts in the past, today we are going to be talking all about weird Nintendo facts, a lot of which you might not already know. Consider leaving a like and subscribing if you end up enjoying the video, and now let's begin. Mario is the most iconic video game character of all time, but did you know that his birthday is coming up? I always just assumed that Mario's birthday was on March 10th since the date looks like it spells out Mario and is celebrated as Mario Day, but it's actually on October 11th. Also on the topic of Mario, his mustache is an iconic and defining feature of his character, but do you know why he has a mustache? It's because back when they were making the first Mario game on the NES, they had a hard time getting a mouth on his character, so they just put a mustache on his face instead because it was easier. Yoshi is a beloved character in the Mario universe, but what exactly is Yoshi? Yoshi has a shell, so is it a turtle? It kind of looks like a dinosaur too, and I imagine most people would just say that Yoshi's a dinosaur, but according to the Nintendo Kids Club page on Yoshi, it says, Yoshi is not a dinosaur, but simply a Yoshi, which only leaves me with more questions. More so in recent years, the character Waluigi has become increasingly popular among Nintendo fans, from campaigns to get him into Smash Bros., to that weird fan game about him owning a taco stand, and more. Waluigi was first introduced in the game Mario Tennis for the N64. Each character in that game has a partner, and they needed a partner to pair with Wario, so they just added Waluigi to pair with him. The weirder part about that is Waluigi and Wario didn't even know each other prior to Mario Tennis, and Waluigi didn't even know who Luigi was, even though he is basically anti-Luigi. He just showed up to a tennis tournament one day, met Wario, and the rest was history. Things get a bit weirder when you consider that Waluigi was created by Fumihide Aoki, a designer from the company Camelot that made Mario Tennis. This makes Waluigi a character in the Mario universe that was not created by Nintendo themselves directly. This is Ayumi Tachibana from the Famicom Detective Club series, a series of games never released outside of Japan. She was a pretty popular character in Japan, so much so that she was originally planned to be a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Melee. She was ultimately cut due to her being virtually unknown outside of Japan and remained in the game as a regular trophy. Marth and Roy, however, characters from Fire Emblem, were added into Melee despite also being very unknown outside of Japan, and they even ended up causing fans to be interested in them, resulting in the Fire Emblem games releasing outside of Japan. Today, Fire Emblem is very popular worldwide, and I wonder if the same could have happened if Ayumi Tachibana was a fighter in Melee too. The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap is the only Game Boy Advance game that has multiple not-for-resale labeled cartridges that were used in store kiosks as demos. One just says not for resale, while the other says not for resale with the word demo in the corner. From what I can tell, other than the labels, the games are exactly the same, so the reason for two different demos is unknown. Now this fact is pretty well known, but whenever somebody finds out about it for the first time, it blows their mind. The Donkey Kong from the original Donkey Kong arcade game and the Donkey Kong seen in modern Donkey Kong games are not the same Donkey Kong. The original Donkey Kong from the arcade game is now Cranky Kong, while the Donkey Kong we know now used to be Donkey Kong Jr., seen in games like the first Mario Kart game. The entire Donkey Kong family has a rather interesting lineage, but my favorite Kong member has to be Funky Kong, and please bring him back for a future Mario Kart game, we need it. Goomba is a common enemy in nearly every Mario game ever made, but did you know that Goombas are the sworn enemies of Toads? They don't really interact too much in the games, but in the live-action Super Mario movie, the old one, not the one coming out with Chris Pratt, a Toad was devolved into a Goomba. Goombas in this movie also don't really look like Goombas to me, but then again, how would you make a Goomba in a live-action movie? The word Goomba is also believed to come from the Hungarian word gamba, meaning mushroom, making these two more similar to each other than I had previously thought. Kirby Squeak Squad is a Kirby game for the Nintendo DS I remember playing a ton when it first came out. It's part of the reason why I'm such a big Kirby fan today, and Squeak Squad even had its own special edition DS Lite that looks like this. It's a very nice and sleek looking white DS Lite with Kirby holding a treasure chest in the corner. The weird thing about this DS though is it was only distributed in Australia through a giveaway from an Australian gaming magazine. This giveaway happened in 2007, and according to the magazine's website page on the Wayback Machine advertising this giveaway, only 40 of these consoles were ever made. On the topic of cool limited edition Nintendo consoles, ever wondered what the rarest Nintendo console of all is? Surprisingly, there's some that are more rare than the Australian Kirby DS Lite, like the hot pink Game Boy that coincidentally also has Kirby on it. There were only 25 of these consoles made as a collaboration with Jacob's Bakery in the United Kingdom. I found this article about it that I'll link in the description from 2014, and the writer of the article says that they bought one for $300. Imagine what that Game Boy would go for today. Splatoon is one of Nintendo's more recent franchises that has become very popular. The third game of the series even just recently released. In July 2017 though, leading up to the release of Splatoon 2 for the Switch, Nintendo of Denmark held a competition where winners could win tickets to Legoland Denmark. In order to have a chance to win, contestants had to answer this question: which colorful shooting game releases on July 21st, 2017 for the Nintendo Switch? The options were Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo Switch, Pokken Tournament DX, or Splatoon 2. I wonder what the correct answer was, since that's a pretty tough question. This was also one of the first hints we ever had to a Super Smash Bros. Game on the Switch, as this contest started months before Super Smash Ultimate was ever revealed. One Mario character that appeared in a lot of games released in the early 2000s was Toadsworth. Toadsworth is an elderly toad that works with Princess Peach and has a British accent for some reason. Toadsworth appears in Sunshine, the Mario and Luigi RPG games, a few Mario Party games, and in Super Princess Peach, where he even can be seen playing the guitar. Aside from being in trophies in Smash and appearing in some remake or re-released games, the last time Toadsworth made an appearance in a new game was in Mario and Luigi Dream Team, which released for the 3DS in 2013, over 9 years ago. The reason for this is unknown, especially since he was a staple in the side games, but one fan theory is that Toadsworth died. Hopefully that's not the case and he's still alive and well, and Nintendo uses him again in a future game or something. In Super Metroid, after completing the game, Samus will do something different depending on how fast you completed the game. There are 3 different possible endings with Samus posing in each of them. If you complete the game in under 3 hours though, Samus will even take off her entire suit, revealing that she is in fact a woman, as at the time especially, many people just assumed Samus was a man. Animal Crossing New Horizons was incredibly popular upon release, selling over 37 million copies, which is roughly 3 times the sales that Animal Crossing New Leaf, the second highest selling game in the series, had. In Animal Crossing New Horizons though, there was a mistake with one of the descriptions of the Nook Miles achievement named Gulliver's Travelus. Instead of saying the word kindness in the last sentence, it's missing the second N and just says Kindis. This was later fixed in a future patch though. The Nintendo Wii sold over 100 million units, which is currently Nintendo's 3rd highest selling video game console behind the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color and the Nintendo Switch respectively. The Wii was able to sell so well despite being the first home Nintendo console to launch without a new Mario game or a spin-off Mario game even. And it was also the first Nintendo console to release in North America first before being released in Japan. Back in 2012, around the release of the Wii U, Nintendo released another original Wii console called the Wii Mini to make the naming schemes of these consoles even more confusing than they already were, since a lot of people thought the Wii U was just an extension of the Wii and not its own console. The Wii Mini was red, only released in Canada, and cost about $100. Seeing as this released about a month after the release of the Wii U, it was very weird timing, but a cool idea to get the Wii in the hands of a lot more people at a cheaper price. Maybe if this released a year or 2 earlier it would have been better, and if it was released in other parts of the world too. Similarly, the Nintendo DS was also first released in North America before it was released in Japan. The Nintendo DS was incredibly popular as well, so much so that in 2005, somebody took it to the top of Mount Everest. This was the first time a video game was played on top of Mount Everest, and I can't imagine playing Madden DS on the top of Mount Everest is very enjoyable. Strangely for the Nintendo DS though, it's the only handheld Nintendo system that doesn't have Player's Choice or Nintendo Select variants of games, like you would see with re-releases of games that won awards or games that Nintendo decided to re-release due to their popularity. And those were just some weird Nintendo facts focusing more on Nintendo's more popular franchises and characters. Let me know in the comments down below any other cool Nintendo facts you know, and if you want to see some fact videos based on Pokemon, check out my Pokemon Facts playlist linked in the description. Also let me know if you want to see a follow-up to this video, and with all that out of the way, thanks for watching, and bye bye.